Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show. I'm your host, Dr. Nasir, and what's on tap for today, folks? Well, it's a video clip of Rubin looking at the Nelk boys interviewing Tucker Carlson in regards to what Trump could or couldn't do in regards to Ukraine and Russia, and what Trump could or couldn't do in regards to the wall. So we're going to react. We're going to get you all of that. Let's get to that video clip right now.
Why is it that Russia and China weren't that friendly under Orange Man? Why is it that Russia wasn't invading Ukraine under Orange Man? Well, it might be that Orange Man knew a little something about leadership and about, let's say, how to get countries to kind of behave the way you roughly wish they would. Tucker Carlson was on the FullSend podcast a couple days ago, and he explained just that.
Trump said he could close that in 24 hours if he wanted to. Do you think he could?
I have no idea. I mean, he couldn't build a border wall in 4 years. So, there is.
I just got to stop here. Tucker Carlson said he couldn't build a border wall in 4 years. Wasn't Trump's fault. He was hindered at every single time that he tried to do something. When he tried to appropriate funds for it, the Democratic Congress basically shut him down. When he's trying to move money from the Defense Department to, take funding from there, from Homeland Security. They said, it was unconstitutional. You can't do it. You don't have the power to do it. Then activist judges, basically ruling with, temporary restraining orders. You had lawyers, attorneys coming in, environmental people coming inside there. Then you had local landowners, that obviously were leftist or liberal or democratic, and they were basically, coming up. I mean, every single place that he tried to get that border wall done, he was met with resistance. He was met with stoppages, whatever he tried to do. So Tucker, I think that, you've got to give him a tremendous amount of leeway. He did complete miles of the border wall. Was he able to complete it all the way? No, he wasn't. And he was thwarted by the libs, by the Democrats, by the whole, acolytes in the media, everybody out there, the alphabet, the media mafia cartels, we talk about. Anyways, let's continue.
Is a gap between promises and delivery with all politicians, very much including him. But I will say, in Trump's defense, and maybe because he's a little bit autistic, he saw the stakes of this, like at the very beginning. He's like, you don't want, and this is what I do love about Trump, particularly in foreign policy. He sees the big stuff. He's like, wait, you've got Russia and China. They don't trust each other. We can't let them get together. They'll kick our ass. And we're not going to fight a war against them, one hopes, but we'll definitely be taking orders from them. Definitely. No. And he said that 5 years ago when everyone's like, shut up, racist. Okay, he's a racist. But is he wrong? Like, what do you address the question? Shut up, racist. Okay, all right. He's a racist. All right, got it. But he says, if we start a war by proxy against Russia, Russia will align with China and we'll be fine. Like, do you think that's true or not? Shut up. I mean, they would never address it. And that's when I was like, whatever you think of Trump, these people are speaking in bad faith. They're stupid. They're also the ones who got us into the Iraq.
I just got to go back to that, folks, real quick, and basically just go back to say that, look, when Tucker Carlson is basically said these people are stupid, remember, I have liked Tucker Carlson ever since I can remember seeing him, back on whenever. I mean, it goes back some time when he had the bow tie and everything, okay? Right? And one of the things that was quite a surprise and a shock to me was when all these, emails and text messages came out basically showing how much disdain and literally, I guess, I could call for a better word, hate, I guess, or, just a passionate dislike for Trump. So he's lying. He was lying all the time, basically making us think as the viewers that, hey, he loves Trump. He likes the way that he's doing things and everything. That was a whole big lie. And I'm not saying that he should be acting as a shill for President Trump, but he could have at least told us and said, listen, there are things about him that I like that he's doing. I mean, he did say that, he liked the fact that this thing here in terms of, with Russia or whatever, but just the fact that he held that back. And I think that everybody should be upfront and let them know. And look, like if I'm talking about Hillary, I'm going to say Hillary Clinton, I don't like her at all. I just don't like her. Could I find some things that I might like about her? Yeah, maybe, if they fit with my conservative values. But I don't know if there are any out there that are there like that. So, but at least I would let my feelings know, not keep them separate and hidden away in text messages. So, in terms of that thing, the whole thing with Trump and Russia, I mean, with Russia and, China and whatever, anybody could have seen that thing happening. Of course, if you're going to fight a proxy war, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Come on. I mean, this is just unbelievable. So, in that regard, I think, Tucker Carlson takes these shots, at Trump and says, oh, you know what? You're short on delivering, promises and whatever. He delivered a whole hell of a lot there, TC, a whole hell of a lot. And at every single point, every single day, 24/7, from before he even was inaugurated, he was being attacked, being vilified, trying to be stopped. They stopped him with General Flynn. I mean, they cut him off at the knees in regards to that thing. The FBI went after him. The DOJ went after him. The wiretapping, all that stuff. And he still was able to get a tremendous amount of things accomplished. Could you imagine if half of the stuff that was against him wasn't what he could have accomplished, even more than he did? TC, you got to be a little bit more honest than that. So let's go back to where we got Dave Rubin back up here and see what Dave's got to say about this now. Let's go.
Do you see why the machine's always going after Tucker, too? Tucker is really good right there. Tucker did what I think anyone who is honest would do. It's what I try to do here. At first...
I don't think he was that honest, Dave. I don't think he was that honest, all right? I mean, as I already explained before, he wasn't honest about the border wall. Yeah, he gave Trump the props on what he basically was saying is going to happen big picture wise with, Russia and China. But I don't think truth is going to be on the TC side there, Mr. Rubin.
They're talking about the wall. Trump promised the wall. He didn't get the wall, so maybe he can't do all the things he wants. Nobody is above reproach. Nobody is above criticism. I'm getting a lot of pushback suddenly on the Twitter machine, maybe because I'm spending a little too much time here too, because I've been defending DeSantis related to the whole Trump nonsense. But what he's saying there is, okay, so he...
So in terms of this, a lot of the elites, a lot of the establishment, and a lot of the Republican people, they are pushing for DeSantis, and these guys had to come around to Donald Trump. Rubin was a huge supporter of Donald Trump, but I believe now he's sort of switched a little bit to DeSantis again because they think it's just a little bit of a less bombastic messaging, coming from DeSantis, than from Trump. I mean, if DeSantis is the atomic bomb, they basically say, Trump is the hydrogen or the neutron bomb or whatever, scorched earth policy, just completely, obliterates everything in its path, but he gets the things done. So these guys, like the Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro and others, they're all falling in line. They want DeSantis. None of them want Trump. They didn't want Trump in 2016. And then they begrudgingly had to accept that. But hand to God, these guys, you ask them, they're going to go with DeSantis. So that's why he's getting pushback and blowback on Twitter. And, for Rubin.
He got some things right, some things wrong, but he did see the big picture on this thing, that we could end up in this weird proxy war and thus push Russia and China closer together. But it's not just that Trump had the right instincts on this stuff. It's that our current leadership in D.C., the compromised, befuddled buffoon Joe Biden, who's obviously not in charge, and then the litany of diversity hires and half-crocked swamp creatures that he has put into positions of power either have no idea what they're doing or are intentionally trying to destroy our alliances, wreck the economy, et cetera, et cetera.
And that's so true, folks. That is so true. That's what's happening. So Dave hits it on the head right here. And something that I have to give him credit for, as most conservatives, are doing basically. We've known this from the Brandon administration that, Biden, you don't have to have any experience. Experience is something for the job in a Biden administration is absolutely not required whatsoever. Take a look at Mayorkas for Department of Homeland Security. Take a look at Pete, I have a big butt Buttigieg, transportation secretary. Doesn't have a clue. Doesn't know the difference between a car, a train, a plane, an automobile. Maybe you ought to go watch that movie with Steve Martin and John. I can't think of his name now. John Candy. Trains, planes, and automobiles. If he went to see that movie, maybe he would understand what is part of transportation for Pete. I have a big butt Buttigieg. I could go down the list. I mean, you go down the list in the administration, go down the list in all of the, secretarial positions. Go down. Let's remember the guy. What was I don't know, assistant secretary? I can't remember what it was. This guy was the first person who was, I don't know, cross dresser or transgender or whatever. He's stealing suitcases, going into people's hotel rooms, stealing, suitcases from airport luggage facilities and whatever. They had to, put him and get him, get his, rear end out of there. I mean, all these things. It's all about diversity hires. That's all it is. And if you meet the intersectionality requirements, and you're not white and you're not a male, oh, you've got a good chance. Do you have to have any idea, any experience in the area that they put you in? None whatsoever. None at all. So, anyways, as I said before, Tucker Carlson, you know what? Now that we know the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help us God, and Fox News and the Dominion lawsuit. Hey, a lot of things are coming out, folks. A lot of things that we saw, that are we seeing now, that are like, wow, really? You hate Trump. You were making fun of him, but then you want to have him as an interview. You're begging him to come on your show for ratings. But in the back of your mind, that's pretty duplicitous. But maybe that's just the way it works in the cesspool of Washington, D.C. and the cesspool of digital media. Who knows, folks? But like I said before, you cannot blame. There are things to blame Trump on. There's a lot of things that we can blame Donald on, okay? But look, you can't get everything 100%. So you got to prioritize and say, what is it that he did? Did he give some things that you prioritize and said, these are things that I want Trump to accomplish? And you put them in the top 10 list. And then you've got another list, which is another, your 11 to 20 list. And then you've got the other one that said, okay, if he gets this, all right, there's some other stuff on this list here. But I really want him to focus on this. If you got 2, 3, 4, or 5 of those things and a couple of these things, and maybe you didn't get to hear one of them or it was close, you're going to focus on that and say, oh man, that was like number 50 on my list. You didn't get to that one. And I'm upset. Oh, you got the main things that you wanted. There's only so much a president can do at that point in time. I think that's one thing that Trump learned then as well. That it wasn't like being the CEO of your company where you can just go ahead and say, hey, do it or else. He had to work with people. He had to work with Congress. And then he had to work with people that could backstab him, people that were telling him face front, hey, yeah, absolutely, sir, we're going to do that. And as soon as they left the office, come on, you think McConnell and Paul Ryan, these guys, how many knives do you think these guys were, basically, how many wrenches were they throwing into the machinery to stop the Trump machine at that time? You folks know you folks know what happened. Appreciate you taking the time to watch. You've been watching the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show. I've been your host. My name is Dr. Nasir. And if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, like, share, and follow us. Put your comments down below. Let us know what you think. Trump, Tucker Carlson, Rubin, the Nelk boys. Anyways, folks, I'll leave you with my final thought, which is, when you're right, you're right. And when you're left, you're wrong. We'll see you again next time, folks. Take care and stay safe.